I never thought I'd be the guy who would find himself in the middle of a betrayal. My name is Mike, and up until recently, I thought my life was pretty solid. I had been married to Lisa for 7 years, and while our relationship had its ups and downs, I genuinely believed we were good. We had a comfortable home in a decent neighborhood, and I had a stable job as an IT manager. But like an unsuspecting driver cruising down a well-paved road, I had no idea that a massive pothole was waiting to screw up my ride. The first sign that something was off came about 6 months ago. Lisa, who was once so attentive and caring, started acting strangely. She was always on her phone, giggling at texts, and when I asked her about it, she would brush it off, claiming it was just a funny meme from her friends. I wanted to believe her, but there was a change in her vibe. It wasn't just the phone. She started going out more, often giving me vague excuses about needing girl time with her friends. At first, I thought I was being paranoid. I mean, every relationship goes through phases, right? Maybe she just needed a breather from our routine, but the nagging feeling wouldn't leave me. I started to notice small things. Her makeup was more vibrant, her clothes had changed from comfy sweats to tight jeans and fashionable tops. I asked her if she was seeing someone, and she laughed it off, calling me ridiculous. But there was something in the way she avoided my eyes that made my stomach twist. Then came the day that changed everything. I had taken my car to the local mechanic, a guy named Brad who'd been doing work on my car for years. I trusted him, which is probably why it stung so much when he casually mentioned seeing Lisa at the shop the other day. She was getting a tune-up, he said, smirking like he had some inside joke. A tune-up. I felt the blood drain from my face. I didn't even know she had been there. It was strange because she hadn't mentioned needing car repairs. My heart started racing, and a cold sweat broke out on my brow. I thanked Brad, but my mind was already going 100 miles an hour. I could shake the feeling that this was more than just a routine maintenance visit. That evening, I confronted Lisa when she got home. "So, how was your day?" I asked, trying to keep my tone casual, though I could feel the tension in my throat. She smiled, oblivious, and started talking about her day at work and the new project she was working on. I interrupted her, my voice steady but my heart racing. "I heard you were at the mechanic's today." Her smile faltered for just a moment, but then she recovered, flashing me a grin that didn't reach her eyes. "Oh yeah, just getting my oil changed. Nothing exciting." I leaned in closer. "Really? Because I heard you were getting a tune-up." The color drained from her face, and for a split second I thought I saw panic flash across her eyes. "Mike, you're being ridiculous," she snapped, her voice rising. "I can't even go get my car serviced without you thinking I'm cheating on you." The defensiveness in her tone was palpable. It was the first crack in the facade I had been trying to ignore, and it felt like a slap to the face. I pressed on. "It's just strange, Lisa. You've been acting different lately, and now I hear you were at the shop with Brad." I could see her brain working, trying to calculate her next move. She let out a huff and said, "You're being paranoid. Brad is just a nice mechanic, okay? We talk about cars." Her excuses were unraveling faster than I could keep track of. My heart sank. The thought of her being with another man made bile rise in my throat. I was furious, but a part of me was still hoping I was wrong, that it was just a misunderstanding. But deep down, I knew I had to dig deeper. Suspicion had turned into determination. The following days were filled with a mix of anger and dread. I started noticing small things: her phone buzzing constantly, text messages she would quickly swipe away, and the late nights that she claimed were work-related. Each time I confronted her about it, she would dismiss my fears, claiming I was being unreasonable, that I should trust her. But the trust was slipping away like sand through my fingers. Finally, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I began noticing patterns in her behavior, keeping track of her movements. I acted like nothing was wrong, but inside I was scheming. I needed proof, and it was time to find out if my worst fears were true. I couldn't shake the thought that while I was at home, she might be out with someone else, someone like Brad. Little did I know, all this would lead to a decision that would change my life forever. The following week felt like I was stuck in a slow-motion nightmare. My gut feelings were gnawing at me, and every interaction with Lisa felt like a poorly choreographed dance. I was keeping my cool on the outside, but inside, I was a storm of confusion, rage, and betrayal. The more I thought about her late nights and secretive phone habits, the more determined I became to uncover the truth. I started by doing something I never thought I would. I began investigating. I knew it wasn't the most ethical route, but desperation blurred the lines of morality. I set up a mini stakeout in my own home, which felt absurd and wrong, but I had to know what was happening behind the facade of my marriage. I started taking note of the times she left the house, her excuses, and how long she was gone. One Friday night, she claimed to be meeting some coworkers for drinks after work. I watched the clock tick, each minute fanning the flames of my anxiety. After 2 hours, I decided I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my keys and went out, hoping to accidentally run into her. I drove around the usual bars but found nothing. Just as I was about to give up, I happened to pass by the mechanic's shop. Its lights were still on, and my heart raced as I felt an urge to pull in. What if she was really there? I parked my car down the street, trying to compose myself. I got out and walked up to the shop, my heart thumping loudly in my chest. The front door was slightly ajar, and I could hear muffled voices inside. My instincts screamed at me to turn back, to not go in, but I was already too far gone. The thought of Lisa and Brad together sent a wave of adrenaline through me. As I stepped inside, I froze. The sight that met my eyes made my stomach drop. There was Lisa, laughing and leaning against the counter with Brad, their body language too familiar, too comfortable. I could see the playful glint in her eyes as she brushed her fingers against his arm while they leaned in close, sharing something that wasn't meant for my ears. The laughter rang hollow, cutting through the dimly lit room like a knife. I felt invisible in that moment, like a ghost watching the betrayal unfold. The anger bubbled up inside me, but I stayed rooted to the spot, afraid of what I might do if I confronted them right then and there. I couldn't believe my wife, the woman I trusted, was flirting with our mechanic. I turned to leave, my heart racing, but before I could get out of the door, Lisa's laughter dissipated, and I heard her voice call out, "Brad, let me grab my coat. I need to go to the restroom first." Time froze again as I realized I had to act fast. I stepped into the shadows and waited, my heart pounding. I could hear the faint sounds of their conversation, Brad's chuckle, Lisa's flirtatious giggle. I felt sick. It confirmed everything I had suspected, and I felt a wave of rage wash over me. When Lisa finally walked out of the restroom, I stepped forward, blocking her path. The surprise on her face was both satisfying and infuriating. "Mike, what are you doing here?" she stuttered, her voice a mix of confusion and panic. "Funny, I was wondering the same thing," I replied, my tone icy. I couldn't keep the fury out of my voice, and I could see her scrambling to come up with an explanation. I was just," she paused, trying to find a lie that wouldn't fall apart in front of me. "We were just talking about cars, Mike. You know, typical mechanic stuff." "Typical? Is that what you call it? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're having a little more fun than just car talk." I shot back, my anger bubbling over. I couldn't believe the audacity of her lies, and it felt like a punch to my gut. "Don't be ridiculous, you're making a scene," she hissed, her eyes darting around the shop as if searching for allies. Brad, who had been leaning against the counter, shifted uncomfortably and avoided my gaze, clearly not wanting to get involved. "Don't try to act innocent, Lisa. I saw everything. I'm not an idiot," I said, my voice rising despite my effort to contain it. "What's going on between you and him?" Her expression morphed from shock to defensive. "You're being irrational. This is just ridiculous. You have no right to accuse me of anything," she exclaimed, her voice rising in pitch. "If it's so innocent, why are you hiding it? Why lie to me?" I pressed, the pain of betrayal mixing with anger. I felt like I was on the brink of exploding, but I had to keep my composure, at least to get the truth out of her. She folded her arms across her chest, trying to regain some control of the situation. "You're just looking for something to be upset about, Mike. I'm tired of you being paranoid and trying to control everything in my life." This was the moment I had been waiting for. I felt like I was peeling back the layers of her deceit, but it only revealed a deeper pit of lies. "You think I'm paranoid. I'm standing here watching you flirt with another man while you've been lying to me for weeks." My voice had taken on a desperate edge, the raw emotion spilling out of me. "Let's just go home and talk about this," she suggested, her tone suddenly shifting, a hint of fear creeping into her voice. The facade was cracking, and beneath it lay a woman caught in her own web of deceit. "You don't understand." But I was done listening to her excuses. This was no longer a conversation, it was a reckoning. "No, Lisa, I think I understand perfectly. You've been sneaking around behind my back while playing the victim." The tension hung heavy in the air, and for the first time I saw vulnerability flicker in her eyes. In that moment, everything I thought I knew about our relationship shattered. The woman I had loved and trusted had become a stranger, and I was left standing amidst the wreckage, trying to process the reality of it all. I took a step back, needing space to breathe. The emotional turmoil was overwhelming, and I felt like I was drowning in a sea of betrayal. I needed to figure out my next steps. I had to decide what I wanted and how I was going to handle this mess. As I turned on my heel and walked out of the mechanic's shop, the weight of the truth settled heavily in my chest, and my mind raced with plans for what came next. I couldn't just let it end like this. The ride home was excruciating. Lisa sat beside me in silence, her eyes fixed out the window, avoiding my gaze as if that could somehow erase the reality of what had just happened. The tension in the car was palpable, the air thick with unspoken words and raw emotions. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, each beat echoing the betrayal I had witnessed just moments before. I gripped the steering wheel tightly, trying to focus on the road and not the chaos swirling in my mind. When we finally arrived home, the silence between us deepened. I wanted to scream, to throw every accusation at her that had been building up inside me, but I also felt a strange urge to keep it together. I needed to think clearly. I ushered her inside and we stood in the living room, the weight of the moment pressing down on us. "Mike, can we please talk about this?" she began, her voice trembling slightly. I could see the mask of confidence slipping away, revealing a woman who was now scared of the consequences of her actions. "You're blowing this out of proportion. Blowing this out of proportion." I interrupted, incredulous. "You think I'm overreacting because you were flirting with our mechanic." "I saw the way you two were together, Lisa. It was more than just casual conversation." "I told you it's not what you think. Brad has been a friend to me and we just got carried away with the jokes. It meant nothing." She pleaded, her eyes wide with desperation. "Nothing, you know what, I can't even handle this anymore. You need to be honest with me," I said, my voice rising. "How long has this been going on? Was it just him or are there others?" She hesitated, the silence stretching uncomfortably. I could see the gears turning in her mind, weighing her options. Finally, she sighed, her shoulders slumping, and admitted, "It started a few months ago. I was feeling lonely while you were working late and Brad was there to listen." "Lonely? That's your excuse. You think I don't feel lonely sometimes." The anger simmered beneath the surface, threatening to boil over. "You don't think I have feelings and needs too, Lisa. You just went out and found comfort in someone else and now you expect me to just forgive you." "I didn't mean for it to happen." She shot back defensively. "I never wanted to hurt you. Brad just made me feel special again. I was missing something in our marriage." Her words struck a chord and I felt a pang of sadness at the truth behind them. I had been so focused on my job and responsibilities that I had taken our relationship for granted. But that didn't justify her betrayal. "So, what's your plan now? Just keep lying and sneaking around? How do you expect me to trust you again?" "I don't know," she exclaimed, her voice rising. "I messed up, okay, but can't we work through this? I love you, Mike." Love, the word hung in the air, stale and empty. I wanted to believe her, but right then I was consumed by a whirlwind of hurt and betrayal. It felt like the ground beneath me had shifted, leaving me unsteady and unsure of everything I thought I knew. "Love doesn't mean anything when it comes wrapped in lies," I replied, my voice low and shaky. "You need to understand how deeply you've hurt me. I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way again." I paced the living room, struggling to process the depth of her betrayal. "Do you even realize how much this hurts? You took our marriage and threw it away for a fling with a mechanic." The anger surged again, punctuated by the realization that my life, my plans were crumbling before my eyes. Lisa's face fell, the tears spilling over as she whispered, "I'm sorry, Mike. I never meant to hurt you. I felt lost. Lost. That word echoed like a haunting melody. I felt lost too. We've both been lost, Lisa, but that doesn't give you the right to cheat on me. I replied, my tone softer but still laced with pain. I need time. I don't know if I can forgive you for this. Please just give me a chance to make it right. I'll do anything. Her desperation was palpable and it twisted the knife deeper into my heart, but I couldn't just take her back like that. I wasn't ready to forgive or forget. Anything, I repeated bitterly. What does that even mean? You're going to promise me you'll never talk to him again, that you'll change. I shook my head, the sadness washing over me like a wave. It's going to take a lot more than promises to fix this. Lisa fell silent and I could see the realization dawn on her face. This wasn't just about her, it was about us, everything we had built and how quickly it could all come crashing down. I don't want to lose you, Mike, she said softly, her voice cracking. I'll do whatever it takes. I don't know if it's enough anymore, I admitted, feeling the weight of those words. The thought of losing her was painful, but it didn't compare to the pain of betrayal. That night, I slept. On the couch, the distance between us felt like miles. I couldn't escape the echo of her words, the laughter I had heard at the mechanic's shop, and the weight of our shattered trust. I was left alone with my thoughts, contemplating the future. Did I want to fight for this marriage, or was it time to walk away? The next day, everything felt different. I woke up with a resolve that I hadn't anticipated. I needed to take back control of my life. I couldn't let this situation define me or dictate my worth. I was done being the victim in this scenario. It was time to reclaim my power and figure out what I truly wanted moving forward. That evening, I sat down with Lisa once again. The tension was still thick in the air, but this time I was ready. I wanted to lay everything out on the table, to make her understand the consequences of her actions and what it would take for me to even consider rebuilding our lives together. I could no longer be the passive partner who let things slide. It was time for a change, and I needed to make my voice heard. Lisa, I began, the weight of the moment pressing down on me. We need to talk about our future. I have some decisions to make. As I sat across from Lisa, I could feel the tension radiating between us like a thick fog. The air felt heavy with unspoken words, and I knew we were at a pivotal moment in our relationship. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my thoughts before laying everything out on the table. Listen, we can't just brush this under the rug, I started, my voice steady but somber. You cheated on me, Lisa. You broke my trust in a way that's going to take time to heal. I can't pretend that this didn't happen, and I need you to understand the depth of the pain you've caused. She nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. I know, and I'm so sorry, Mike. I really am. I never wanted to hurt you. I was foolish, and I promise I'll do everything I can to make it right. But the words felt hollow, mere echoes of the sincerity I needed to hear. It's not that simple. I've spent the last few days feeling like a fool for trusting you. I loved you, Lisa, and you chose someone else instead of coming to me with your feelings. I know, I regret it every single day, she cried, her voice cracking under the weight of her remorse. I don't even know why I let it happen. It was a mistake, and I've realized how much I've taken you for granted. Realizing it now doesn't change the fact that you did it, I replied, the hurt mixing with a swell of anger. I don't want to be in a loveless marriage, and this feels like a betrayal of everything we've built together. In that moment, I could see the desperation in her face. She was grasping for straws, trying to hold on to what we had. I'll do anything to prove to you that I can change, Mike. I'll go to counseling, I'll be open about everything. Just please, don't throw away our marriage. The plea tugged at my heart, but I felt like a wall was rising between us. Counseling may help, but it's not a magic fix. You need to understand that I'm not just hurt, I'm angry, and I don't know if I can forgive you right now. I need time to process this. I understand, she whispered, her voice barely audible, but I love you and I want to fight for us. I sighed deeply, the weight of her words settling heavily on my shoulders. Love is not enough when there's a fundamental trust broken. I need to see genuine change, and I need to set some boundaries moving forward. Her eyes widened at my words, a flicker of hope igniting in her expression. What do you mean by boundaries? I mean, I want you to cut all ties with Brad. No more texting, no more late-night chats, nothing. If we're going to work through this, I need to know that I can trust you completely. "I can do that," she replied quickly, her voice earnest. "I promise I'll take it seriously. I'll block him, whatever it takes. And you need to be patient with me," I continued, trying to articulate my thoughts clearly. "This is going to take time. I'm not going to magically forgive you after a few weeks. I'm going to need to see that you're committed to making this work, and I need space to heal." "I can give you space," she assured me, her tone softer now. "I just hope you can see that I'm trying to make things right." "I need you to mean it this time," I said firmly, locking eyes with her. "Because if you slip up again, I don't know if I can come back from that. I won't be a doormat in this relationship." With that, a silence settled over us as we both pondered the gravity of what I had said. I could tell she was thinking hard about her actions and the consequences, and for the first time I saw a glimmer of genuine understanding in her eyes. It was a small moment, but it felt significant. "Thank you for being honest, Mike," she said quietly. "I know this is difficult and I want to make things right. I'm willing to fight for us." "Then show me," I replied, my heart heavy yet cautiously optimistic. "I need to see the changes in real time. I need to feel like I'm not just wasting my time trying to forgive you." As we sat there, the tension began to ease slightly. We both knew the road ahead was going to be challenging. We had taken the first step towards a potential reconciliation, but there were no guarantees. I felt a mix of hope and apprehension as I considered what this meant for our future. The next few days were a roller coaster of emotions. Lisa did her best to show her commitment, reaching out to a therapist and blocking Brad from her life. She was transparent about her plans, leaving her phone open for me to see and even checking in throughout the day to reassure me. Still, the nagging doubts lingered in the back of my mind. I went through a range of emotions: anger, sadness, fleeting moments of happiness when I saw her making an effort. I found myself questioning whether I was making the right decision. Should I really let her back into my heart? Part of me wanted to believe that people could change, that love could conquer all. But another part of me screamed that I was setting myself up for more pain. I started to focus on myself more during this time. I began running in the mornings, using it as an escape to clear my head. I spent time with friends who offered support, and I found solace in their encouragement. I started to remember who I was before the relationship took a turn, and it felt refreshing. But just when I thought I had a handle on things, I received a text that sent my heart racing. It was from my buddy Tom, who worked with me. "Hey man, I just heard something crazy. You might want to sit down for this." The words made my stomach drop. I knew something was off and my instincts kicked in. "What's going on?" I replied, my heart racing. "Lisa was seen at the mechanic's shop again," he wrote back. "I don't know the details, but I thought you should know." I felt the ground beneath me shift once again. The sense of betrayal crashed over me like a tidal wave. I couldn't believe what I was reading. After everything we had talked about, after she promised to cut ties, she had gone back. My heart raced as anger bubbled to the surface. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm within me. This time, there would be no more second chances. I had to confront her again, but this time, it wouldn't be about understanding or forgiveness. It was time to take back control for good. The road ahead was about to take a sharp turn, and I needed to brace myself for the impact. The moment I received Tom's text, I felt my world tilt on its axis. The fragile balance I had been trying to maintain with Lisa shattered in an instant. I was done with the uncertainty, the lies, and the deceit. This would be the turning point for me. I wasn't going to let her play me for a fool again. I needed to confront her about this new betrayal head-on. After packing the floor for what felt like an eternity, I decided to confront Lisa when she got home. I could feel the adrenaline pumping through my veins, my heart pounding in my chest as I prepared for what was about to unfold. I knew this conversation would be different from the last. I was not only hurt but furious, and that anger needed to come out. When she walked through the door, I could see the weariness in her eyes. "Hey Mike, how was your day?" she asked, her voice light, but I could sense an undercurrent of anxiety. "Cut the small talk, Lisa," I said, my tone firm. "We need to talk." I gestured for her to sit down, my heart racing as I prepared to lay everything out on the table. She hesitated, sensing the gravity of my words. "What's wrong?" "I just got a text from Tom," I began, my voice steady as I locked eyes with her. "He told me you were seen at the mechanic's shop again." Her face drained of color as realization washed over her. "What? That's not possible," she exclaimed, her voice rising defensively. "Don't lie to me," I shot back, my anger bubbling to the surface. "You promised me you would cut ties with him. You told me you were committed to working on our marriage, and now you're back at his shop. What the hell, Lisa?" "I swear I was just picking up my car. I didn't see him." "I wouldn't," she stammered, but I could see the panic in her eyes. "Stop, just stop," I interrupted, anger coursing through my veins. "You think I'm stupid? You think I'm going to believe that? This is the second time you've lied to me, and I can't keep doing this." Tears filled her eyes as she struggled to maintain her composure. "I didn't mean to, I thought I could handle it, but I didn't see him, I promise. I'm trying." "Trying? You're not trying hard enough," I said, my voice growing more intense. "You're not taking this seriously. You wouldn't have gone back there at all." The silence that followed was deafening, and I could see the weight of my words sinking in. The truth hung heavily between us. She had betrayed me again, and I was done being the one left to pick up the pieces. "I can't do this anymore, Lisa," I finally said, the resolve in my voice shaking but clear. "I won't be a backup plan or a second choice. If you can't commit to me fully, then this isn't going to work." Her face crumpled as she absorbed my words. "Mike, please don't say that. I love you, I want this to work. I made mistakes, but I'm willing to fix them, I promise. I can't live my life waiting for you to make the right choices," I said, my heart aching. "I don't want to be in a relationship where I'm constantly doubting you. You've broken my trust too many times, and I don't know if I can ever get it back." Lisa fell silent, tears streaming down her face as the reality of our situation settled in. "What are you saying? Are you saying you want a divorce?" I took a deep breath, wrestling with the enormity of my words. "I don't know yet, but I need to think clearly, and I can't do that living with the constant reminder of your betrayal. I need space. I need to figure out what I want and what's best for me." She reached out, her hand trembling as she grasped mine. "Please don't leave me. I'll do anything to prove I can change. I'll go to therapy. I'll cut all ties with Brad, I swear. Just give me one more chance." I pulled my hand away, feeling suffocated by her desperation. "Lisa, it's not just about promises anymore. I need to see action. You've made me doubt everything, and I can't keep putting myself through this pain." Her sobs filled the room, but I refused to let her emotional turmoil sway me. In that moment, I had to prioritize my own well-being. It felt cruel, but I knew that I had to make a decision for myself, even if it meant causing her pain. "I'm going to stay with my parents for a while," I finally said, the words heavy in the air. "I need to think. I need space to breathe without feeling like I'm walking on eggshells." "Mike, please don't do this," she begged, her voice breaking. "I'll change, I'll do better. I hope you do, but I can't be your safety net anymore," I said, feeling a mix of sadness and clarity. "I need to know that I'm more than a fallback plan for you." I turned and walked away, the weight of the moment crashing down on me like a tidal wave. I packed a few essential items and left the house behind, feeling both liberated and heartbroken. I couldn't remember a time when I felt more conflicted. I wanted to believe that love could conquer all, but right now, it felt more like a battlefield with no clear victor. As I drove to my parents' house, my mind raced with thoughts and emotions. This was a turning point for me, a chance to reclaim my life and my sense of self. I needed to focus on healing and rediscovering who I was outside of my marriage. It was scary, but it was also exhilarating in a way. I was finally taking control of my own destiny. The days turned into a blur as I settled into my parents' home. I found comfort in their support, and I could finally breathe without the weight of betrayal hanging over me. I started to explore new hobbies, reconnecting with friends and rediscovering parts of myself that I had neglected for years. I was learning to prioritize my own happiness, and it felt liberating. But Lisa was never far from my thoughts. I received texts from her every day, pleading for another chance, expressing her love and commitment. I could see she was trying, but the doubt still lingered in the back of my mind. The trust was shattered, and I wasn't sure if it could ever be rebuilt. Then one evening after a long day, I received a call from Tom. "Hey Mike, I just wanted to check in on you. How are you holding up?" "I'm managing," I replied, trying to keep my tone light. "Just taking some time to think and figure things out." I've been hearing some things about Lisa, he continued cautiously, and I wanted to make sure you're aware. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? I saw her at a bar with Brad last night, he said, his tone serious. It looked like they were having a good time together. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. Are you serious? I exclaimed, anger bubbling to the surface again. After everything, she went back to him. I'm sorry, man. I just thought you should know, he said, his voice filled with concern. I hung up the phone, my hands shaking with anger and disbelief. I didn't want to believe it, but a part of me had already suspected it might happen. I felt the crushing weight of betrayal once again, and the resolve I had felt began to waver. How could she do this after everything we had been through? It felt like a knife to my heart, twisting and turning deeper with every passing moment. I knew I had to confront her again, but this time it would be different. This time, I was done with the excuses and the tears. It was time for a final showdown. I wouldn't let her play with my emotions any longer. I was ready to take a stand for myself and reclaim my life once and for all. The time for forgiveness had passed. It was time for closure. After the phone call with Tom, I felt a surge of adrenaline and fury mix within me. My mind raced with images of Lisa laughing and flirting with Brad, the very man who had chipped away at our marriage. It was time to confront her again, but this time I wasn't going to let emotions cloud my judgment. I was done being played. I drove back to our home, my heart pounding in my chest as I imagined what I would say. The decision was made. I wouldn't let her deceive me again. I had given her multiple chances, and now I had clarity. I needed to reclaim my self-respect, no matter how difficult the confrontation would be. When I stepped through the front door, I found Lisa in the living room, scrolling through her phone, oblivious to the storm brewing within me. The moment I entered, she looked up, her face lighting up with a smile that quickly faded when she saw the expression on mine. "Mike, you're back." "I've missed you," she said, her voice laced with a mix of hope and apprehension. "Cut the act, Lisa," I said, my voice steady but firm. "I know you were with Brad last night. I don't want to hear any more excuses." Her face paled and her mouth opened in shock. "What are you talking about? I told you I was trying to work on myself. You can't just accuse me without proof." "Tom saw you," I shot back, my anger boiling over. "You were at a bar with him, laughing and having a good time like nothing ever happened between us. How can you expect me to believe your promises when you keep going back to him? This is the second time you've betrayed my trust." "I was just talking to him, I swear. It didn't mean anything," she exclaimed, her voice rising in desperation. "Please, Mike, I'm trying to change. I thought I could handle it, but it's not like that. I love you." I felt a mixture of anger and heartbreak coursing through my veins. Love doesn't mean anything when you continually choose to betray me. You can't just flip a switch and expect everything to go back to normal. You've proven that you can't be trusted. Tears streamed down her face as she realized the gravity of the situation. "I'm so sorry, Mike. I never wanted to hurt you. I thought I was strong enough to resist, but I didn't want to feel alone. I thought I could manage it." "Manage what? Your guilt? Your loneliness?" "The truth is, Lisa, I can't keep going in circles with you. You've made your choices, and now I have to make mine." Her expression shifted from desperation to acceptance, as if she was beginning to realize that this was it. "What are you saying?" "I need to put myself first," I said, feeling a sense of clarity wash over me. "I can't be in a relationship where trust is constantly questioned. I deserve better than this, and so do you. If you can't commit to making this work without looking back, then I don't think we can continue." "Please," she pleaded, reaching out for my hand, but I pulled away. "I'll do better, I promise. Just give me another chance." But I stood firm, feeling the ground beneath my feet steady as I spoke. "I can't do this anymore, Lisa. I'm done. I don't want to be a part of a relationship built on lies. I need to focus on myself and what makes me happy." For the first time, I saw acceptance in her eyes, a realization that this was truly the end. "I never wanted to lose you," she said, her voice choked with emotion. "I thought we could work it out." "Sometimes love isn't enough," I replied softly, the sadness weighing heavily on my heart. "I'll always care about you, but I can't keep pretending everything is fine when it's not." As I turned to leave, I felt a mixture of sadness and relief wash over me. The decision to walk away was painful, but it also felt like a release. I was reclaiming my life, my happiness, and my dignity. I moved back in with my parents for a while, focusing on healing and rediscovering myself after the emotional turmoil. I took time to reflect on my experiences, my worth, and my goals. I started enjoying things I had neglected, spending time with friends, picking up new hobbies, and even hitting the gym to work out my frustrations. As the days turned into weeks, I felt stronger and more empowered. I learned that it was okay to prioritize my own happiness and that I wouldn't settle for anything less than a relationship built on trust and respect. Eventually, I met someone new. Her name was Jenna. She had a warmth about her that made me feel at ease. We clicked instantly, and I found myself laughing and enjoying life again. I realized that there was indeed life after betrayal, and while it took time to heal, it was possible to start anew. Through this experience, I learned valuable lessons about love, trust, and self-worth. I learned that it's okay to walk away from toxic situations and that my happiness should never depend on someone else's actions. To anyone reading this who might be going through something similar, know that you deserve to be treated with love and respect. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. You are worth it, and you have the power to reclaim your life when things go awry. Remember, sometimes the hardest decision leads to the most beautiful outcomes.